Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bolo Hare Hare, Stephen. Where's Stephen?
I think in the album. Should I go to that?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Go Premanande Srila Prabhupada ki Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Shri Giri Govardhan ki Shri Virahadev ki Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha ki Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki New Mayapur Dham ki Go Premanande Harinama Sankirtan ki Brihat Pradanga ki. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Oh, glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Sarasvate Devi Gaudavani Prachardine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastacharde Shatarine. Jai Prabhupada. Well, it looks like, the marker, if I'm not wrong, is on text 1718. Is that correct?
Yes.
It is. You've moved very fast in the last few days. Do you have enough devotees to cut vegetables, or we need more? Maybe you need more containers or anything? I don't know. Okay. Only have a sack of potatoes, okay. No problem. I hope everyone likes potatoes. The 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 5, text 17, 18, 19, and 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. For the French-speaking devotees, we had a translator. Where is Chitralila? She's evaporated. Pardon?
She went out a few minutes ago.
She went out, yeah, but she was, I think she was getting ready. Where's the French Bhagavatam?
She took it.
Well, that was good.
Oh, she's coming now.
Oh, she's coming. Okay, great. No, it is there. So if devotees, someone can say in French, need a French translation, of course, Hari Hansaveni, and anybody else needing French. Someone can ask in French, please. If you do, please sit near to Chitralila, which is here, and she will translate for you. But we do have a French Bhagavatam there with the French. Which verse does it begin with? Nisha? Nisha?
17.
Nisham yatat surugana Mahendra Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vanishchitam Nishamyatat Suragana Mahendra Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Nishamyatat Suragana Mahendra Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Vinishchitam
Nishamyaitat Suragana
Suragana
Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Nishamyaitat Suragana Mahendra Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vinishchitam
Mantrayanto Nishtam. Ladies.
Nishamyaitat Suragana Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vinishchitam.
Anyone else?
Nishamyaitat Suragana Mahendra Varunadayaha Nadya Gachan Swayam Mantrayer Mantrayanto Vinishchitam.
Word for word. Nishamya. Hearing. Etat. This incident. Suraganaha. All the demigods. Maha Indra. King Indra. Varuna Adayaha. Varuna and other demigods. No. Not. Adjagachan. Reached. Svayam, personally. Mantrai, by deliberation. Mantrayantaha, discussing. Vinishchitam, a real conclusion. Tato Brahma Subhang Jagmor Mero Mudani Sarvasha Sarvang Vigyapayam Chakru Panatak Parameshtine. And the translation. Are you ready? Okay, good. Lord Indra, Varuna, and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumera mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances, and then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. I'm going to read back a few verses. I don't know. We've moved forward incredibly fast. I'm covering dozens of verses in the last few days. So I'm a bit out of touch here. Let's see. I'm going back to text number 8. During the reign of Chakshusha Manu, the king of heaven was known as Mantradruma. Interesting, you see, when we say Indra, we sometimes think of a person. Of course, it's a person. When you say president, who do you think of?
Function.
Pardon? It's a function. It's a function. Lochan? You think of Lochan? Namacharya? Okay, it's a person, but it's a function. Huh? And tomorrow, you could be the president. No. But the president remains. Indra remains. But it's not like Indra and that's it. It's the name of King of Heaven. It's the post, like king. Like that. God is different. It's not like, tomorrow we have a vote and someone else is God. But these are posts in the material world. Temporary positions. So the stories of Indra, they're not always of the same millennium. And we sort of equate everything to the same one. It doesn't necessarily mean that. So here we have Mantradruma. He was the king of heaven. Among the demigods were the Apyas, and among the great sages were Advishman and Miraka. In the 6th Manvantar millennium, because in a day, the universe, just like our day, has days. We have days in the year, right? Something like, how many? 365 or something days in the year. And we have nights. And then we have years, and we have so many years. So similarly, the universe has its days and nights. And in one day in the universe, how many Manvantars are kind of those who oversee the universal administration? You have to have someone overseeing it. And how many are there in a day of Brahma? 14, huh? 14. 14? Is that right? Or more?
Day of Brahma, 14. Yes.
14.
Yes.
14 Manvantars. So in each Manvantar, there's a different Indra. Different person takes that post. So in this particular Chakshusham Manu, or Manvantar, the king of heaven was known as Mantradruma. In the 6th Manvantar millennium, Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his partial expansion. He was begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife, Devasambhuti, and his name was Ajita. These things are described in various Puranas, I'm sure. Details may not be given in Bhagavatam. By churning the ocean of milk, Ajita produced nectar for the demigods in the form of in the form of a tortoise, he moved here and there, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Mandara. Well, we usually hear this pastime of Kurma Rupena, with the form of a kurma mentioned here. Kurma Rupena. It's also known as Ajita. So they produce nectar. It's another story which is mentioned in the Bhagavatam later on. King Parikshit inquired, "O great Brahmin, Shukadeva Goswami, why and how did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he stay in the water as a tortoise and hold up Mandara mountain? How did the demigods obtain the nectar, and what other things were produced from the churning of the ocean? What was that?
Churning of the ocean.
That was the churning. We produced some strange sounds there. Who is churning in the background? Is there a tortoise back there? We had somebody out there in Prasadam, maybe yesterday, somebody said there was like a tortoise in the garden. Are you okay back there? Okay. Come back. Don't leave us. How did the demigods obtain the nectar? And what other things were produced from the churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord. My heart, which is disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material life. I was listening to a lecture of Prabhupada this morning. He was saying that nobody can say that they are not suffering. Of course you can say it. But actually everybody is suffering in this material world, even the demigods. You can't avoid suffering in the material world. It is the constitution of the material world. Just like the constitution of Chile. You know this Chile? You have any? You have it in France? You know Chile? Yeah. What is it in French? So some people like chilis, some people don't, but the constitution is very pungent, very hot, burning constitution. I was reading yesterday, or last night to be honest, very wonderful pastimes of Vishnu Jan. Where's Vishnu Jan? Where is he? Maybe in the kitchen. Vishnu Jan, not this Vishnu Jan we have here, but the famous Vishnu Jan, with the Radha Damodar party. And they were at some fiddlers' convention festival in Bourne in North Carolina. I don't know if anyone ever been there. It's in the Appalachian Mountains. And they have this annual festival called the Fiddlers' Convention or something, where everyone comes and fiddles. On any kind of instrument that goes like this. You know. So he was there, and they had a devotee on Esraj and somebody on the guitar, and this and that. The whole party was there, and the Hell's Angels were there as well. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Hell's Angels were there on our motorbikes, and they were mooching around, causing trouble to everyone. And they came to the Radha Damodar camp, mooching around there. So, what's this then? You know, who are these guys? So anyway, they sort of made friends. They kind of liked the devotees were cool. They fed them nicely, and they liked the food. And they, more than anything else, there's one of them called Animal. What was his name? And he liked what they call sharks. You know what a shark is? I mean, fish in the water. What else is it used for? Shark. Deep fried hot chili is called a shark. It's called a sharks. You've heard that? Sharks. So sometimes you fry them. Maybe it takes a little pungency out. They're crispy and hot. And this animal could not stop eating sharks. He gave me more and more sharks. Red hot sharks. He was so fired up. Constitution. Some people's constitution, they like this. But the material constitution is suffering is their to some degree, everywhere, threefold misery is mentioned here, Prabhupada was saying. These three miserable conditions of material life. Cannot avoid it. But here, I don't even know, the sages are speaking. I don't know if it's, I think it's the sages, because next sutta speaks, so presumably it's a Shonak Rishi, I guess. As I say, I haven't been here for the last couple of classes. The threefold miserable conditions of material life is not yet sated. My heart is not yet sated, satisfied. I want more, I want more. With hearing you describe the glorious activities of the Lord. It's like in the material world when someone is talking about something we like, we want to hear more. You know, when they're talking about me, I like to hear more, right? Talk more, depending on what it's about, of course. And more glorious, please. More qualities, please. Describe some subject which we like. There's no end. Of course, there might be an end, depends on how much they can speak. But with Krishna, there is no end. His glories are unlimited. So how can we ever be sated in one sense? Because he's unlimited. Not yet sated with hearing you describe the glorious activities of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of the devotees. Satvatam Pate. Then Sutta Goswami spoke, and he said, O learned Brahmins assembled here at Naimisharanya, which is a very amazing forest in India. Have any of you been to Naimisharanya? Anyone been there? Have you been? Pardon? Naimisharanya. No, it's very near to Lucknow. It's in Uttar Pradesh, near Lucknow. Have you been there? No? Oh, it's amazing. If you get the chance one day, go there to Naimisharanya. It's not far from Lucknow, but it takes a long time to get there. Well, maybe they built roads now. Then it was just like dusty tracks. Probably got roads now. I haven't been there for quite a long time. But amazingly place. It's like one of those places which is preserved. Like a, usually when some place becomes famous, then it very quickly becomes commercial. Maybe it has now. But then it was kind of preserved, quiet. And I remember wandering into one forest there, and there was this big opening inside the forest. And you could just imagine Sutta Goswami and the sages there discussing Srimad. It was so quiet, just a few cows nibbling away, a few birds singing. It was so quiet, it was so peaceful, not a person to be seen. Very beautiful. It's also the place, a very special place. At the beginning of Kali Yuga, many great sages assembled, and they were very concerned about this age which we're in, because it's a very Kalaya dosha nidhe rajanasti hekumahangunoda. This age is full of difficulties, unexpected difficulties, disturbances, no end of disturbances, as we may have experienced. So they were thinking how to bring auspiciousness into this age. So they gathered together. Like here today, there's maybe, I don't know, there are 25 or something of us sat here. They gathered together. How many of them? 88,000 of them. 88,000. Initially they may not have been that many, but eventually it was 88,000 of them gathered. It wasn't just a couple. And they didn't have a microphone or some speakers in the ear or mobile phones, Zoom conference. Sutta Goswami was doing a Zoom conference for them all. No. None of these things. WhatsApp or something. Well, anyway, these sages, at least some of them, they approached Lord Brahma. Just like here we're reading how the demigods are approaching Lord Brahma. Because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. Sometimes managers have this problem. They don't know what to do. Why are you laughing? Why is he laughing? I can't understand it. You know what to do, don't you? Chant Hare Krishna. Anyone comes with any problem, you just say, just chant Hare Krishna. What's your problem? Just chant Hare Krishna, right? They're not always so satisfied with that one. But sometimes in management, you don't know what to do. It's not, we're not God. And even the demigods are going, and the sages were going. What to do? Is Kali Yuga coming? How are we going to bring auspiciousness? How are we going to help people? So Lord Brahma said, you perform this great sacrifice. Where? And he said, I have a disc. I'm going to throw this disc, and wherever this disc lands, that's the place you do your sacrifice. A disc with like a wheel with spokes on the wheel. Because Naimisha means like spokes of a wheel. And Aranya's forest. So he threw this disc, and it flew through the universe. Powerful. Talk about a meteor. This was like so powerful. And it hit the earth. Bang! And went straight through the earth out the other end. Where it came out, I don't know. But where it went in, we do know. It's this place called Naimisharanya. And that's why the sages perform their sacrifice there. And there's, to this day, there's a chakra tirtha, a place where the chakra or the disc hits the ground. And there's this big, it's maybe as big as this room, like pond, round. They've made it round. And, they don't let people go. There's a fence with some chains and something there to hold you. But you're not allowed in because they say it has no bottom. Bottomless. A bottomless pond or whatever. Bottomless. And when the British came there, that was nonsense. All this, just some, what do they call it? When you say all these things, this is a bottomless pit. This is just mythology or just some myth or some superstition or something like this. And they tried with their balls and chains, and it went down several miles and still they hadn't hit the bottom. So maybe it is bottomless. Krishna way. Are you okay with English?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you from?
From Rhine, in France.
In France, but okay with English. Huh? Thank you very much. And anyway, this wonderful place. So then the sages went there, and they performed their sacrifice there. This is what we're hearing now. Sutta Goswami is speaking to these sages, and he's actually giving them the solution for Kali Yuga. What to do in Kali Yuga. What to do. It's easy to get caught by the nature of Kali Yuga and try to impose it. But the real secret of Kali Yuga is, what is it? What is the secret in Kali Yuga? If we want to become freed of the miseries of Kali Yuga? Sankirtan. Ekamahanguna. There's one quality in Kali Yuga. Kirtanada eva Krishnasya. The chanting of Krishna's glories, such as Srimad Bhagavatam, which has appeared to counteract the ill effects of this age of Kali, as the sages earlier, or Sutta Goswami earlier described how, how the Srimad Bhagavatam has appeared in this age of Kali to bring light in the darkness of this age. So Sutta Goswami said, O learned Brahmins assembled here at Naimisharanya, when Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Dvaipayana, that's the name of Vyasadeva, was thus questioned by the king, this great king named, what was his name? Oh, you know surely. The great king, when he was questioned by the great king. Who was that great king? Parikshit. And what did Parikshit ask of Sukadeva? Many things, but what was the primary one in the beginning? What to do at the moment of death. Yes. What is the duty of a man? What should he be thinking of at the time of death? And Sukadev Goswami said that this is the answer to this is is the primary subject matter in human society. Primary. Well, people may ask, what am I going to do at the time of death? What do they say? What shall I do at the time of death? What do they do? Die. Good answer. Yeah. You die. Pretty straightforward. Lament. Enjoy. Don't worry. We'll put you in sedation. You'll have a peaceful death. We'll give you some drugs so you don't feel the pain, right? Who knows what's going on inside there? You may think that they're dying a peaceful death, but you can't see. We can't see what's going inside. It's like when you're dreaming at night. Who can see what's going on inside, huh? You might be having a nightmare. Of course, sometimes it gets so bad the body starts acting too. You don't know. In a moment you can have so many. It's not like that. But let me think, what shall I do at the time of death, or before I get death? I will try to enjoy myself as much as I can in my last moments. I remember years ago, 50 years ago maybe, there was this one newspaper article. It said, one girl, she was terminally ill with something impossible. She had 7 days left to live. It wasn't something which made you immobile, it was something else. So her last desire, I don't suppose any of you have been in prison. I mean, in the sense of being locked up in prison, except for the material world itself. But, if you're on death row, you know what death row means? They usually give you a last request, don't they? Pizza or whatever give me. I'm saying. These days you probably ask for a big hot plate of pizza or something. So this girl asked for, she was poor family. And they made a television appeal for this poor girl. She wants to enjoy. She wanted to go to all the fun fairs and Disneylands in the world, That was her last desire. And so she made an appeal. About £10 million was collected in a couple of days, to fulfill her last desire. Isn't that amazing? To Disneyland. But that's not really the best thing to desire at the time of death. Huh? I remember one time, one of our godbrothers, his name's Amoga Prabhu. Anyone know? From Australia, you know Amoga Prabhu. And he was one early disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Preached in the early 70s, he was preaching in Asia, Southeast Asia, one of the first. You know Amoga Prabhu? You heard the name, a good photographer. Anyway, one of his daughters had Down's syndrome. If you know what Down syndrome is, a certain type of kind of, you stay like a little child, you never grow up, One of his daughters, very sweet, beautiful, sweet little girl, but they remain sort of like in a kind of a very childlike type of mentality. And but she was really devotional, and she really wanted to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the place where Krishna performs his transcendental pastimes on this planet. She wanted to go there. It's in India, not far from Delhi. So she just said, Daddy, Mommy, I want to go to Vrindavan. So that year they were planning to go to Vrindavan. They would spend a lot of time where I was, which at that time was in Malaysia. And so they were on their way to Vrindavan with their daughter. She was about 15 years old, but she was like, a 3-year-old or something like that. And so they were on their way, but then she suddenly had some tremendous health issue with her chest, I think. Couldn't breathe. She had some issues. So they were in Singapore at that time, about to fly, and then it happened. And we had devotee doctors, of course, who helped with the whole thing. But it was impossible. She was just too far gone, and she left her body in Singapore. But she never made it to Vrindavan. But moments before she left her body, she said, "I want to go to Vrindavan." That's what we should be thinking of at the time of death. Not, "I want to go to Disneyland." Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, which is probably what most kids would say. Help, I'm suffering. Well, if you say anything at all, if you probably can't say anything. But moments before she left her body, she said, "I want to go to Vrindavan." Vrindavan. Well, most likely she went to Vrindavan. And here we are. We may think, poor girl. Poor girl. But that's the perfection of life. And we could say, as His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would many times say when he showed us how to leave this world, we have to learn to die before we die. Dying before we die. And how do we do that? That's not suicide. What does it mean? Dying before we die. Huh? Change our consciousness. Abandon our false ego. And what do we do? How do we do that? I've abandoned my false ego. Yes. I can teach you how to do it also. Just give me some money and serve me and I will teach you how to do it. Yes. How do we abandon our false ego? How do we change our consciousness? Huh?
By constantly serving Krishna.
Yes, well, in one sense, we could look at it two ways, By giving up this activity or the mentality which causes us to take birth and death in this world. All material activity causes birth and death. So to transform, to change our activity and consequently our consciousness away from trying to enjoy this material world to trying to please who? Oh, very good. Well done. You must be the president. You must know all these things. To please Krishna. That's what we're here for. Yes, this change of consciousness. To give up this identity. What did Lord Chaitanya say? Naham. What did he say? Didn't just say Naham. What did he say? Naham. Vipro. Na. Cha. Narapatir. Come on. Huh? Naham Vipro na cha Narapatir. Pardon? We are forgetting. Those who are on the altar. Naham Vipro na cha Narapatir na pivaisho na shudro. Naham vani na cha griyapatir no vanastu yatirva. What does that mean? I'm not a Brahmin. Oh no. Oh, you're not a Brahmin. Okay. I'm not a Brahmin, even if we are one, or we think we are. I'm not a Brahmin, I'm not Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya. These are different categories, spiritual, elevated situations in life supposed to be, managers, those who organize society, leaders and workers. I'm none of these things. Neither am I Are you a brahmachari? Are you a grihastha? Are you a brahmachari? Are you a vanaprastha? Are you a sannyasi? You fit the character. Yeah. Huh? Not a brahmachari, not a grihastha, not a vanaprastha, not a sannyasi. What are we? That means we're nothing or what? What are we? Huh? Yeah, Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalam. Dasa, 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 anudasa. Not an ass, a das. Otherwise you're an ass. You may think I'm this and that, but we're as good as an ass. Almost. Dasa, dasa means servant of the servant, 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 servant. This is our real business. And this is how we get free of our false ego, by becoming a servant. Not just for false name and prestige, but in actually cultivating, begging for service, begging to become a servant, not a master, a servant. Give up this idea that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am in the center. No. You're the servant of the servant, 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 servant. Over and over and over again. This is the real business. We hear this from Bhagavatam. We hear this if we actually chant the holy name of Krishna. Otherwise we're still chanting Hari me, me, Hari, Hari. I don't like you, hate you, you, hate. Right? Something like that. That's the mantra we're chanting. Here's me, me, here. And then, Sutta Goswami goes on. When Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Dvaipayana, was thus questioned by the king, he congratulated the king and then endeavored to describe further the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one can fully describe. As he's heard them, he's going to describe. Sukadeva Goswami said, when the Asuras, Asura means the demons, with their serpent weapons, severely attacked the demigods in a fight, many of the demigods fell and lost their lives. Indeed, they could not be revived. At that time, O king, the demigods had been cursed by Durvasa Muni. Okay, I'll read why. The three worlds were poverty-stricken, and therefore ritualistic ceremonies could not be performed because there was no gold, no ghee, no paraphernalia. They were helpless. They lost all their power, their weapons, everything. The effects of this were very serious. Purport. I'll just read a bit of it. It is described that while Durvasa Muni was passing on the road, Durvasa Muni was a big sage, but he had a kind of a bit temperamental sometimes. He would get a little angry sometimes. Was passing on the road, he saw Indra on the back of his elephant and was pleased to offer Indra a garland from his own neck. Indra, however, being too puffed up, took the garland and without respect for Durvasa Muni, placed it on the trunk of his carrier elephant. Oh my God. Yes. The elephant, being an animal, could not understand the value of the garland, and thus the elephant threw the garland between its legs and smashed it. So be careful. If you see, the president riding on his elephant, you don't have an elephant. They used to have an elephant. We heard yesterday they had elephants here. Back in the 80s festival sometime. Jyoti was telling us yesterday they had 2 elephants here for the festival. One here. There's a video of the elephants? Okay, great. Can show it one day. Seeing the insulting behavior, Durvasa Muni immediately cursed Indra to be poverty-stricken, bereft of all material opulence. Thus the demigods, afflicted on one side by fighting the demons on the other by the curse of Durvasa, lost all their material opulences in the 3 worlds. And then we're up to today's verse. That's a nice purport. To be extremely opulent in materialistic advancement is sometimes very risky. The materially opulent person does not care about anyone. They're a little proud sometimes, not always. And thus he commits offenses to great personalities such as devotees and great saints. He thinks, because of me, I'm providing for you, poverty-stricken beggars or whatever. And this mentality is sometimes, I am giving. I'm the doer, I'm the giver. Sometimes when we have some talent, I think we sometimes have a talent, or we have some time, or we have some ability, or some money. I have done so much for the Hare Krishna movement. Many years I gave my time and my life to the Hare Krishnas. Now that's very nice in one sense, but it's not right, it's not correct. Time is Krishna. The talents we have are all given by Krishna. All the wealth belongs to Krishna. We are most fortunate to be able to sacrifice that selflessly for Krishna. Otherwise, if we have this mentality, we're binding ourselves in the material world. I did. I gave. This type of mentality is the root of binding us on and on until we give it up in this material world. I had the privilege, when it develops like that, we're on the road to release from this material world. It's not like I did. Everything is given to us by Krishna. Otherwise there's a little pride there of thinking I did this and I did that better than you, better than this, better than that. This tends to come in on the subtle platform quite often. The material opulent person does not care about anyone. I'm Superman. This is the way of material opulence, as described by Shukadeva Goswami. Dana dumadanda. Too much wealth makes one blind. Now we have another example, earlier on, maybe in the 4th canto, of King Prithu. In the 4th canto, maybe. King Prithu, who was the ruler of the world. He was so opulent. And when the 4 Kumaras, these little tiny boys, naked, Brahmin sages, came to him, traditionally the kings would give charity, whether selflessly or not, they would give charity. And he said to these 4 Kumaras, actually, my dear sages, I cannot give you anything, because everything belongs to you. It is already yours. It is you tell me what to do with it. It is not mine. My talent, my position, my wealth, my property, everything is yours. But Prabhupada describes just like a bank, when you put your money in the bank, probably not these days, but it's supposed to be, the bank holds it for you. It's your money. It's not the bank's. They look after it. So Prabhupada says, the kings, the leaders of society, because the Brahmins have too many important things to do to spend their time managing. They're supposed to be giving release to all living entities from birth and death. Knowledge which will release us. Spiritual knowledge. They don't have time to get involved in the necessary in the material world. But that is the business of Kshatriyas. So out of their kindness, they give the Kshatriyas this opportunity to serve Krishna by managing things. But if they step out of line, of course, then the Brahmins may also use their Brahma Tejas to adjust things. But that's the principle. So nothing, as soon as the Kshatriya thinks, I am like Vena. Before Prithu Maharaj passed time, Vena was there. I am God, I don't care for you. You do what I say. You Brahmins, come here, do what I say or else you're out. You're sacked. Do what I say. I'm the boss around here. This type of mentality creeps in. Then, of course, that's opposed to the purpose of human life. So this situation here, Indra got puffed up thinking, who do I care about this Durvasa Muni? I'm the king of heaven. He's depending on me for charity. So he offended him. And he became angry. This happens even to Indra. What to speak of others in this world? When one is material opulent, he should learn to be sober, well behaved toward Vaishnavas and saintly persons, otherwise he will fall down. So that's what happened to the demigods in today's verse. We'll just read it, and there's no purport anyway. Lord Indra, Varuna, and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumara mountain. There in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances, and then they informed him of all the instances that had taken place. So when we make a mistake, here we have a little example what to do. We go to the superior and ask, please tell us what we should do now. And we'll find out after this what they should do from Lord Brahma. We'll inform them what to do and how to overcome or how to deal with the problem which they're facing. They go to the superior, humbly submitting themselves, even though they made a mistake. Srimad Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Any questions? Mayapur Chandra Prabhu is from Czech Republic, if you don't know him. He's a very dear devotee, and he's kindly come to spend some time with us here in New Mayapur. Maybe another 50 years, maybe, huh?
I think I have 5 years.
Pardon?
I have 50 years.
Maybe 50 years, maybe longer. Maybe. That's the Krishna ranges. Hare Krishna.
We see in the Bhagavatam that the Brahmins, they curse people. So I would like to know if it is like proper way to deal with when they are insulted, or should they forgive to them?
That's a good point. I never thought of that one before. Cursing. When people give you a hard time, maybe I think we have to have a Brahmin meeting and discuss this with all the Brahmins. How we deal with yeah. Well, of course, there are different kinds of Brahmins. Being a Brahmin, it doesn't necessitate that one is, let's say, completely free from the effects of the modes of nature. And sometimes Brahmins are also selfishly centered and get personally offended. So there's two kinds of things. Same like with anger. Anger can be used because we're self-centered and somebody has offended me, right? So that's not much different than any normal dealing, you could say. Maybe they have some pious credits from this and that, good fortune of being born in a Brahmin family or something, and they become officially Brahmins. The whole Bhagavatam came from that, Shringi cursing Parikshit Maharaj. He wasn't qualified as a Brahmin in reality. He had power of a Brahmin, but didn't have the character of a Brahmin. So it is the characteristic or the quality which really determines a person as being a Brahmin or not. But many Brahmins don't necessarily have that. They're by birth or by circumstances, they're called Brahmins. And they may be self-centered, so they may curse people for their own angry reasons. You cause me trouble, I curse you. Others who are qualified may also curse, and in the Bhagavatam you're going to get both. Like when Narada Muni, for instance, cursed, who did he curse? Pardon? Nala Kuvara, okay, he cursed the two sons of Kuvara. But it wasn't like, you've offended me. You get the point? You get the point? He wasn't thinking like that. He didn't care less. But because of their behavior, they've got to learn a lesson, these guys. They're wasting their time. They're misusing this opportunity. So I curse them. You guys become trees and learn your lesson. You see this quite often, different curses are there. So it's a matter, it's like anger. You know, is it that, you know, if someone does something wrong, should we just become angry? Well, if it helps the other person, yes. But if it's just for my own, you know, letting off my own steam, you know, then what's the point? What's the use? Okay, you let off your own steam. But it doesn't do the other person any good necessarily. Of course, if they're a devotee and self-composed, then it does. It helps them to become more humble. But that's not our business. To think, you know, oh, good, oh, I've heard that if one gets criticized, it's good for one's spiritual life. So I'll just go around criticizing everybody. Or, you know, punching everyone. Or shouting at everyone. That will help them to become humble. We're not on that state of quality of consciousness. So, like Prabhupada will sometimes get very angry with devotees. It wasn't that he was angry with the devotee, but angry because they're wasting their time or they're doing something which is detrimental to their real interest. A parent may also sometimes appear to be angry. It may be for their own, because they themselves are disturbed. You understand? And then it does no good. It creates chaos in the family. But if it's really genuinely out of concern for the child, then sometimes at the right time anger may be used or cursing may be required, you know, for that person's benefit. But if one's not in a position of if one's not qualified, one has to be very careful in these areas. So we see both examples in Bhagavatam. Durvasa Muni was a little different. Durvasa Muni appears to be, in many cases, gets out of control. But that's his role. That's his role. He is he's a partial expansion of Lord Shiva. So he manifests that aspect of Lord Shiva. Shri becomes very pleased and easily angered also. That's his role in the pastimes, to sometimes do this and show lessons. In this particular case, it was justified. Indra was puffed up. So his cursing was justified. Sometimes it seems to be a little bit self-centered, just like when he tried to curse, who knows, a famous one with Ambarish. Oh, sorry, I've already given the answer. Durvasa Muni cursing Ambarish. Right? It was a different thing, you know. Ambarish did nothing wrong. It's just Durvasa Muni felt offended, right? He has offended me. And so he tried to curse him, you know. Kill him. I curse you to die, you know. Because Krishna protected Ambarish, but Durvasa had to run for his life. So, you know, he has both. He's the different. Each situation may have a slightly different lesson to learn. And Krishna is using different persons as instruments or whatever to show the lesson. But it's certainly not our business to do that, that's for sure. We're already cursed. We're already stuck in our minds and our material identities and so on. We need, you know, if that's what our spiritual master does, and Prabhupada did on one occasion, for the benefit of the disciple, you know, to shake us and wake us, that we can't imitate. It's not our position to imitate these things. No. Some people think they're cursed, and Prabhupada, just like another example of Daksha. Who knows that example?
Narad Muni.
Yeah, what did he do? He cursed Narada Muni. What was the curse? Because, why did he curse him?
He turned all his sons to brahmacharis.
Yeah, you know, Daksha had sent his 10,000 sons, what were they called? Haryasvas or something? He had two sets of sons. Yeah, one was the Haryasvas and then something else. Two sets of sons. He sent them off to prepare themselves to become good rulers within the universe. So they're all performing austerities and study and so on. Meanwhile, Narada Muni came along and said, what are you doing this for, you know? You sort of asked, give up all this stuff. You know, renounce it all. Just become brahmacharis and just go back to Godhead. Yeah, that's the whole life. So they all did. They all became, you know, renunciates. So Daksha became quite angry. You could understand why. You could say in one sense he had his good reasons. So he cursed Narada Muni. And what was the curse? He cannot stay in one place for more than 3 days. Maybe some of us would like a similar curse, I don't know. But Prabhupada says, similarly, the parents of my disciples have cursed me. Because I don't know if their curse is powerful enough to do that, but Prabhupada said that. But so many of the parents of disciples, they were so angry with Prabhupada because he took their sons and daughters and they become, Hare Krishna, no good for nothings. Useless people. Doing nothing for any good for anyone, huh? Just, dancing around on the streets, living off of society, useless bums, right? Better they become hippies. Yeah, many parents felt like that, and we were angry. Prabhupada says, therefore, I also cannot stay in any one place for more than a few days. Prabhupada just saying like that. But Prabhupada took it, and he even said that to one of his sannyasis who couldn't get visas. He was in Asia. He said, actually, this is a blessing for a sannyasi that you can't stay in one place. Just like, and he gave that example of Narada. So for a devotee, whatever happens, even if one's cursed or blessed or anything, it's all the same. No problem. But we don't imitate the great. We can't imitate the great. We have to. So I'm sorry, we're not going to have a Brahmin council to decide how we're going to curse. No. We want to how we can become blessed and how we can share that blessing with others by spreading the Sankirtan movement everywhere, overcoming the ill effects of the Kali Yuga and the material world in general, by spreading the holy name, whether people like or not like, they may not like. They may like, depending on their good fortune, their condition, etc. We still carry on, even if they curse us, we thank them. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. I think one of these beautiful decorations has come down. Someone later on can pop it back up. One of the beautiful decorations are coming along. Thank you very much for that, those who are doing it. And Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.